Hey boys and girls, I wanted to give you an idea of what this single point writing rubric means. It's focused specifically on when you have to write a paragraph or an essay around your opinion. So if you notice that it says the word opinion up here, single point writing rubric CASP opinion 3 to 5. So if you look across the top here, you have the place to put your name and date. You also have these little icons here. This column lets you know that these are areas that if you get feedback, these are areas that you could revise to get a better score or to do better in your writing. Now, if you look here, it says you made it. So we can infer that that means that in these columns, if you get to this place, then you've met the teacher's expectations. Now, moving to number 4, this is a place that actually goes not just meeting the teacher's expectations, but it actually means you have exceeded the teacher's expectations. So depending on your comfort level, depending on the goal, depending on where you think you're at in your writing, you might want to target one of these areas. Now let's look across horizontally. We have organization or purpose. That means what's the opinion that you're clearly trying to say? Another way to say it is it's called a claim. What's the claim you're trying to make? Now let's read these. The support is organized. The opinion is clear. The focus stays connected to the purpose and audience, uses transitions that aren't all the same and that make the message clear. Clear introduction and conclusion, clear progression of ideas from beginning to end, ideas that are connected to each other. So in order to meet the expectations of your teachers, you'd have to write opinions that do these things. Now let's move over to the evidence and elaboration row. Now, in order to meet your expectation, first let me tell you what evidence and elaboration means. These are the reasons that you use, either facts from a story or an article that you've read or that you know by doing research, or your own reasons that you've experienced based on those facts. This is where we reinforce, just like a table legs support the top of the table, where we reinforce our opinions. And so in your writing, it's really important that you reinforce your opinion by doing these things. So in the response, we would see uses facts and materials from sources to support an opinion, builds ideas and elaborates on source information using reasoning. The vocabulary connects to the audience and purpose and has a style that is clear. So if you're trying to make an opinion, it's important that you support that opinion with reasons. And so this is where you'd go to make sure you're doing reasons or creating or referencing reasons that are clear. The last thing is all about spelling, punctuation, grammar, capitalization. If you notice up here, these rows are worth 2, 3, and 4 points. But down here, we're actually not weighing spelling, punctuation, capitalization, grammar as much as we are the organization and evidence. So if you look, the 0, 1, or 2, so you can only get 2 points for going above and beyond in these areas. So all that to say, sometimes I know I get nervous when I don't know how to spell a word, or if my sentences aren't perfect in terms of grammar or capitalization. Don't worry. We want to get and exceed your messages. We want to see your writing, and we're actually focused more on what it says over whether or not it's spelled correctly. So yes, absolutely. Use it as a focus. Make sure you're doing the best you can, but we want you to hear more of what you have to say. So let me read this for you just in case you'd like that. The response is a good use of conventions, adequate use of correct sentence formation, punctuation, capitalization, grammar usage, or spelling. Now, the last part of this is where you can put your goal score. So if you notice, as long as you fall into this or this column, you're meeting the expectation. So we'd love for you to write a goal for yourself or for your team, if you're writing this together or collaboratively, about how many points you're trying to get when you do your writing. So for example, it could say, my goal is to score 8 points on this essay. And 8 points is fine because it falls in between that 7 to 10 point range. Now, if you said my goal is to score 5 points on this essay, then we'd need to revise that goal because that's falling outside of what our teacher or your teacher has said is okay for you to score. So keep that in mind when you're setting your goal. And then the last thing is we really want you to reflect on what strategies you're going to use in order to meet your goal. It's not just enough to set a goal for yourselves. you need to think about what is the path, what are the ways that you're going to meet your goal, whether it be creating your own graphic organizer, whether it be using Post-its to stay organized, whether it be talking to your teacher or your peers and showing them your goal and having them grade you early before you have to turn it in so that you can make adjustments before you have to turn it in. What are the strategies that you're going to do in order to meet your goal? Feel free to write or draw all over the back of this form in any way that's useful. Thanks a lot, everybody.